If you take away one thing from this video today, it is that you should have no negative period symptoms. Hey friends, my name is Cece and welcome to my little corner of the internet where I share things about my life, about what I'm learning, and teach it to you to help you learn, help you grow, and inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Hey friends, welcome to Italy. I am in my home in Italy right now. I just got here a couple weeks ago, so I'm super excited to be making this video for you from here. My last week's yoga video was in my little yoga room that I'm still working on, but I thought today I would come out to our porch and film this video for you guys today. I'm so excited for this topic. I feel like I say that every week, but this week I actually mean it. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. It has brought me so much love and joy into my body, into my own life, and my own practices. And that topic is cycle syncing. So this is going to be a little introduction to cycle syncing. What is cycle syncing? What are the 4 phases of the cyclical woman's cycle? And how can you get started? So we're going to dive into that today. So what is cycle syncing, you might be asking? Cycle syncing is the practice of adjusting your lifestyle, the way you eat, the way you exercise, the way you socialize, the way you work to support your body, support your hormones during your menstrual cycle. And if you didn't know, there are 4 phases of your cycle: follicular, ovulatory, luteal, and menstrual. We'll dive into those a little bit later. But the only one that we really learn about in school is the menstrual phase, is the bleeding, right? When that's not even the main event. The main event is ovulation, is when the egg gets released from the ovary and is ready to be fertilized to make a baby if that's what you choose. And menstruation is just the aftermath of the egg not being fertilized, and it sheds the uterine lining, and that comes out as your period. All very important, all very necessary and part of the beautiful cycle that our bodies go through. Therefore, cycle syncing is learning about each phase and what foods and what exercise and what social actions best serve each phase of our cycle. So what is each phase? What happens during each phase? Just like it's kind of on the lunar cycle, this 28-day cycle of our hormones doing different things throughout that time, you can kind of think of each phase like the seasons. So we have spring, winter, summer, fall, and each phase kind of coincides with the seasons. It makes it a really easy way to remember what the vibe is during each phase. And today we're only going to talk about 2 of the main hormones, estrogen and progesterone. I know there's other ones that are super important and valuable during our whole cycle, but these are the 2 main ones that we're going to cover today. Now we'll get into the phases. First one we're going to talk about is follicular. So this is days roughly 5 through 14 of your cycle. So if you have a period tracking app, usually your period is days 1 through 5, or however long your period is. And so follicular comes right after that, starting the day your period ends and going up until your ovulation. So whenever those 2 things happen dictates how long your follicular phase is. Now, follicular phase, you can think of it like spring. We have lighter, fresher foods, lighter cooking methods like sauteing or steaming. Start to get a little bit more energy as estrogen is starting to build in your body. So you can kind of think of estrogen like energy. You are starting to get more estrogen, therefore your energy levels are starting to rise. This would be a great time for a little bit more difficult exercising, maybe like a power yoga class, or going for a run, or maybe some HIIT classes or something like that, that uses a little bit more energy because you have this more energy at this time. Estrogen also aids in communication. So in your work life. Maybe this would be a great time to schedule in a presentation, or if you need to have a hard conversation with someone, this would be a great time to do so. You know, maybe if you're creating content, getting on an Instagram live and saying something, you know, that the follicular time is a great time for this. Your estrogen is rising, your communication is easier, and your thoughts are just kind of more together. Clearly, I'm not in my follicular phase right now because my thoughts are all over the place. It's also a great time for brainstorming, coming up with new ideas, you know, starting projects and really getting into them. Your creativity should be popping at this time. So that's kind of the follicular phase. Next, we'll go to ovulatory. Now, ovulatory is around days maybe 12 to 18, somewhere in that range. It just depends when you ovulate. And this is summertime, like right now. You feel hot, you feel sexy, you just feel so good in your body. You know, you're turned on, it just feels good. This is your ovulatory phase. This is when your egg is released from the ovary and your body is like, I'm ready to make a baby. This is just biological, right? This is just inside of our bodies that want to continue life, you know? And so for exercise, you have high energy, right? So think, you know, a sculpt class, a HIIT class, a kickboxing class, getting all of your energy out, getting rid of the excess estrogen in your body because you don't want that estrogen to be in your body during your luteal phase because that can cause some problems. So sweating, getting your energy out, getting that estrogen out is important in these phases. Not that you have to do these exercises if you don't like them, but you know, some sort of higher intensity movement is great during this time. The body can handle a little bit lighter foods like salads and raw food, and can handle things like a lot of caffeine or alcohol. Not saying that you should necessarily do it, but if you are going to do those things, in your ovulatory phase would be the best time that your body can get rid of the toxins faster, I guess. So during ovulation, estrogen is at its peak. So again, high energy. Also, again, really good for communication, hard conversations, presentations, Instagram lives. Anything where you need to communicate is just going to be so much easier during this time. Because you're feeling all hot and sexy, you know what time it is. It's time to make a baby, if that's what you want to do. Now, if you want to prevent pregnancy, if you want to use this as birth control, ovulatory phase is super, super important to track and to not have penetrative sex during this time, using other forms of contraception or abstaining from sex. This would be the chunk of time that you would need to do that so you can prevent pregnancy or make a baby. Up to you. And did you know that you can actually only get pregnant for about 5 days of your cycle? And that only reason is because sperm can live inside of you for 5 days. So if you ovulate, your egg only stays alive for about 24 hours, but it's that sperm life that makes our window to get pregnant a little bit bigger. It's difficult, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes easier to track this and to use this as a form of hormone-free birth control. If you didn't watch my video on how I got off birth control, what my process has been like, can definitely give that one a watch after this one, where I explain a little bit more in depth about getting off hormonal birth control and what that process looks like. Next, we have the luteal phase. I'm sure you've heard about the luteal phase, and this is the phase often referred to as like the monster phase, the gremlin phase, you know, the bitchy phase. This is where, you know, we get mean and angry and everything's annoying and we hate everything and everybody. Yeah, this is the luteal phase. So the luteal phase is about anywhere from day like 15 to 28 to 30, basically whenever after you ovulate until you get your period is the luteal phase. So whenever those days are for you, it can vary so much for every single person, even every single cycle, it can vary a little bit. So the luteal phase is like fall. Think starting to get cozy, starting to get ready for hibernation, starting to go inward, needing to relax. Maybe you're a little bit more tired, have a little bit less energy, a little less desire to socialize. So in your ovulation, the estrogen is rising, rising, rising throughout the follicular phase, peaks at ovulation, and then right after ovulation, she drops immediately. So estrogen totally drops, and we have this other hormone called progesterone that starts to rise. So progesterone is kind of like the cuddly hormone. She's calm, she's relaxed, she doesn't like to do HIIT workouts, she doesn't like to party, she wants to be at home with a good book, relaxing, maybe doing light yoga or Pilates. In her work life, she has a little bit harder time communicating in this phase because estrogen is no longer here, and likes to do more behind the scenes things for work during this time. Maybe creating some content, going over finances, getting organized in your business or your work, whatever it may be, making plans for your follicular and ovulatory phase for the future. So during the luteal phase, our bodies naturally burn about 200 to 300 more calories than they do in the other phases, just because of the processes that are going on in our uterus, getting ready to shed and getting ready to bleed. This means that we need to feed our bodies a little bit more. Do you ever find yourself having a little bit more cravings right before your period? Find yourself a little bit hungrier? Maybe you just ate a big meal, but just a couple hours later, you're already hungry again. It's because our bodies are working really hard. So we do actually need to feed them a little bit more and fuel them with a little bit more carbs and a little bit more food. Having snacks around your luteal phase, sweet potatoes, warm foods. Think about fall, right? What do we love in fall? Butternut squash, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, things like that is literally luteal phase foods. It's amazing. This is also where we see most of our negative period symptoms. This is why the luteal phase gets a little bit of a bad rap, because she can be a little cranky. So this is where we often experience breast tenderness or bloating or acne, hormonal acne, crazy mood swings. This is where all of these things happen. And really all of those things are caused because your hormones are out of balance. So you might have a little too much estrogen and your breasts are gonna hurt. You might get some acne, you might have crazy mood swings. Like, these are all things that happen because your hormones are out of balance. And we can get them in balance to alleviate these negative period symptoms. Like I said in the beginning, there should be no negative period symptoms. And by healing your hormones, healing your relationship with your body, learning to honor it, learning to honor these phases of your cycle allows your luteal phase to be kind of nice and kind of happy, even if you're a little cranky sometimes. I for sure am, but it's because I often do things that I don't want to do in my luteal phase. So it's just learning how to intuitively listen to your body and to honor it. And stress can be one of the biggest reasons for all of these symptoms. So alleviating stress can pretty much reduce many of these symptoms. I'm not going to say all. I'm not going to say that reducing your stress is a one-stop shop for everything, but honestly, it kind of is. Okay, last phase, menstrual phase, the one that we all know and love, the period. So this is days typically like 1 through 5 of your cycle. This is the bleed, right? This is winter. This is time to relax, time to go inward, time to just let yourself take some rest. And the reason I wanted to do this one last is because, to me, this is the last phase of the cycle. So the egg has been released, didn't get fertilized, the body begins to shed, or do all the processes that happen in the luteal phase, very important things. And then during the period is the shedding, the physical shedding. So it's that egg's shedding the lining. And so the next cycle is the follicular phase. You know, your body's getting ready to release another egg. So to me, the menstrual phase is the end of the cycle, but I think doctors kind of put it as the first because it's easier maybe to track or something. I don't really know, but that's just the way it is. So whatever. But to me, in my head, it's the last. It's like your period is like the report card of your cycle and how you took care of your body during your cycle. So if you took really good care of your body, I bet you're gonna have no cramps, no breast tenderness, maybe a little bloating, but probably not. You know, it alleviates all of those symptoms that we talked about earlier and if you have all of those during your period or right before, maybe you drank too much alcohol or had too much caffeine or did too hard of exercises during your luteal phase, and those negative symptoms start to come through. There's no need to work out during this time. Maybe light yoga or stretching or a nice short walk could feel good, you know, getting outside and things like that, but definitely nothing too crazy, especially during the heaviest days of your bleed. Just take a chill day on the couch, relaxing, reading a book, watching your favorite show, whatever it is. Our body literally has this built-in rest system. So we need to honor that, and our body will thank us so much for it. It'll feel so good. We don't need to be in this hustle, go, 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 I gotta do everything all the time mode, especially when we're in our period. Our period is that built-in rest for us. You want to eat more soups, warm foods that just warm your system. Think about winter. What do you want to eat in the winter? Soup. What do you want to eat during your period? Soup. Literally just makes sense. Warm foods, easy to digest foods, lots of vegetables, protein, you know, good carbs, things like that is really important during this phase. This is a great time for more introverted work, creating, writing, or brainstorming. This is a great time to go inward and evaluate where you are in your life and where you want to be, where you want to go next, making any little plans for the future, just journaling how you're feeling. This is a great time. You are very in touch with your intuitive wisdom and your creativity. So this is a great time to just kind of evaluate where you are in life and just kind of take like a little monthly evaluation of where you're at and where you want to go. Maybe what's been feeling good, or maybe some things that you want to change. Just feeling it out, writing it out, and just having a little, you know, period phase journal that you look forward to writing in every month. That's cute. I like that idea. And like I said, most importantly, just rest. Our bodies have that built-in system to rest, so just honor that and your body will thank you so much. You may be asking, how do I know if my hormones are out of balance or if they're imbalanced? And this just goes back to those period symptoms. Like I said in the beginning, there are no negative period symptoms. If you're having cramps, bloating, breast pain, acne, mood swings, etc., that means your hormones are out of balance. And there are very simple ways, like through cycle syncing, to get things back to where they should be, alleviate a lot of those pains that we are told is normal. It is not normal. It is not healthy for our bodies to be in so much pain during our cycle. Like, that's not fun. Nobody wants that. And so I'm super passionate about helping women learn about this because it's so important, and we were just taught that our periods are horrible and this horrible thing that we have to go through every month, when it's not. It's actually beautiful. And when we learn to honor it and to love it, it just makes life so much better and honestly easier when you know that, you know, you're in your luteal phase and somebody invites you to a HIIT class, you can say no because that's not going to be good for you. Or maybe they invite you to a light Pilates class and you can say yes because I know that that will feel good for my body. So, and you know, of course, there's things in life that we can't change. If you work in a job where you have to give a presentation in your luteal phase, like, you can still do it. You're not hindered by any means. It's just easier in your follicular or your ovulatory phase, but you can still do it in your luteal phase. You can still do it while you're bleeding. It's not like it's a hindrance. It just could be a little bit easier if you were in a different phase. Learning about your cycle can help you get off hormonal birth control. It can help you take control of your own fertility, of your own cycle, getting in tune with your body, learning the process of your body, learning to love it and to honor all of the cycles, all of the phases, even the ones that may not seem so glamorous and fun. And when you learn to honor these cycles, your negative symptoms will go away. It will feel so good. I hated my period for so long, just thinking it was inconvenient and gross and horrible, and my mood swings were just out of control and ridiculous, and it was just horrible. Like, that part of being a woman I just didn't like for so long, and now I'm just so in love with my cycle, with all of my crazy mood swings. It feels so good to love myself to that deeper level and get to know myself even better. Cycle syncing is definitely a long, wild ride, and it's definitely not easy and can be really frustrating at times, but I promise you it is 1000% worth it. Just taking control of your fertility, taking control of your body, learning to honor it, learning to love it even more, and it just feels so good. And you are worth it. You are worth learning all of this information to alleviate your symptoms and to become a better version of yourself. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you liked it and are interested. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out on Instagram at Cece Marie and hit that like button and subscribe for more. I will see you guys all next week. Ciao.